I'm Ralph from Skull Crush Inc. Today I'm taking a look at the Springfield Garrison with a 4.25-inch barrel. Before I get into this, let me just say if you're considering this Springfield Armory Garrison, you're looking at a seriously well-built 1911. This is going to be a very positive review overall, and I've really enjoyed my time with this pistol. But I'm going to start with getting a couple of small criticisms out of the way early. They're nothing major, and they didn't take away from how much I've grown to like this gun. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how it performed at the range for me and why this has definitely earned its place in my carry rotation. Now that I've had the Garrison 4.25 inch for a few months, I put a decent amount of range time behind it. The first thing I did was change out the factory slim grips. They would have done just fine, but I like a little more friction. I don't know if they were sanded so smooth that they're kind of shiny or there's actually some sort of smooth gloss coating over them. I know these slim grips look great and all that, but I want to stack all the advantages that I can get in my favor. So I took off the slim grips, took off the slim bushings, and swapped them for standard bushings and a spare set of full-size wood grips. I know these aren't the fanciest grips I could have put on there, but functionally it was an improvement, and visually I think they match the classic vibe of this gun. My first trip to the range was honestly a letdown. My groups were all over the place. That's when I realized the rear sight was practically falling off. The set screw wasn't holding, and I didn't want to risk stripping it, so I stopped shooting it and I took it over to XS Sights in Fort Worth. They didn't have anything specifically for the Commander Link slide, but they did have a set of R3D 2.0s designed for the 5-inch Springfield operator. They looked close enough in height, so I had those installed. I took it back to the range, got it zeroed in, and hit it with some red Loctite. Problem was the lighting at the range was low and I accidentally locked the rear sight down slightly off center. It was off to the left just a little bit. That was enough to cause it to shoot left about 1 inch at 10 yards. The red Loctite had already dried. I didn't feel like fooling with it, so I took it back to XS Sights and they fixed it, no fuss, right there on the spot. Since then, it's been dead on. The tritium front sight with the neon green ring around it really jumps out for me. It works well in both bright light and low light, which I appreciate. As far as accuracy, once the sight issue was handled, it shot just like any other quality 1911 should. I've run 3 or 4 different FMJ target loads through it, plus a box of Winchester Ranger plus P hollow points. It handled all of them with no problems. It's been 100% reliable with a factory 7-round mag, a Metgar 8-round mag, and a Kimmer ProTac 8-round mag. Personally, I lean toward the Metgar or Kimmer mags just because they've been reliable across all my 1911s. This thing definitely has that classic all-steel 1911 heft. On my scale, it weighs 37.1 ounces unloaded with an empty magazine. This one's not meant to be a lightweight contender, and it doesn't pretend to be. My wife, who is not into guns at all, saw this laying on the table and she said, "That looks old and heavy." For the looks of this 1911 to capture her attention, to me says something. I told her, yeah, it's heavy, and even though it's a new production gun, the design's over a century old. I think the Garrison's heavy in a good way. That weight helps absorb recoil, especially when running hotter loads like the Winchester Ranger plus Ps. Those are pretty warm loads, and although I could feel the difference between target loads, I didn't have any trouble controlling it. Now when it comes to carry, of course I've been running this one in a Skull Crush outside the waistband holster, and it carries surprisingly well for an all-steel pistol. It's only an inch thick, so even with the weight, it tucks in tight and stays out of the way if you've got a proper carry belt. That's key. Don't try carrying a full steel 1911 with a regular belt, it's not going to cut it. A good concealed carry belt makes all the difference in comfort and stability. I believe this could be a perfectly viable CCW if you're okay with the weight. I carry different guns depending on the day, but I wouldn't hesitate to carry this one if I was in a 1911 kind of mood, or maybe I needed a thinner profile gun under a dress shirt or a jacket. That said, I always carry a spare mag with a 1911. Even with 45 ACP, it's still a handgun round, and 8 or 9 rounds can go quick. Accuracy matters, but so does the ability to make a quick reload. And speaking of round count, another reason why I carry the Metgar or the Kimmer ProTac is because they hold 8 rounds instead of 7. You never know, that one extra round might make a difference. If you want a 1911 that doesn't break the bank and still runs like it should and looks great doing it, the Garrison is worth a serious look. Whether you go with the 5-inch or the 4.25-inch, they're both great, but if you plan to carry, the shorter barrel has some advantages, especially when sitting down. The 5-inch might push the muzzle into the seat and torque a bit depending on your size. With the 4.25-inch, you won't have that issue. In the end, the Springfield Armory Garrison with the 4.25-inch barrel brings together the heritage of the 1911 platform with the practical features you want in a defensive handgun. Its slim profile makes it easy to conceal, its controllability makes it easy to shoot well, And above all, it's proven itself to be completely reliable throughout my testing. With a spare mag or two, I'd feel completely comfortable carrying this pistol in just about any situation. The .45 ACP's reputation as a defensive round is well earned, and pairing it with a well-built 1911 like this makes it a compelling choice. If you're in the market for a classic that performs like a modern tool, I have no hesitation recommending the Garrison. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe, and visit skullcrush.com. Thanks for watching.